Yo, 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 what is going on, everyone? My name is Connor. Welcome back to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. And let's get right into this live stream because the market pumped today. And everyone thinks, or a lot of people are probably, there's a lot of confusion, but a lot of people are probably like, that was the bottom. And they're convinced that, everything is good now. And I want to share my thoughts and my analysis on the market right now. And yeah, a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it and start out like we always do with our crypto market overview. So Bitcoin is currently trading for $82,400. Price did just spike up here to $83,590. We essentially tested the monthly open. We tested the downtrend line, and we also tested the supply zone. That I mapped out yesterday. We did spike above it, but essentially the 83K level is a supply level, and I said price could easily go and test that. Well, we pumped directly to that price point today, and as you can see with the 12-hour closure as well as the daily candle closure, price actually didn't break through resistance. But anyways, we'll get back to this analysis in a second. But just to let you guys know, in case you're wondering, yes, I am still bearish. I still am expecting lower. 100% in my book right now, I'm expecting lower. I shouldn't say 100% actually, because the market's always probabilities, and it's not a 100% probability it's going to happen. But I do put a large emphasis on my bearish bias. But anyways, what happened today? So at 9:37 a.m., Trump tweeted on his Truth Social account that it's a great time to buy. And then what happened? At around 1:23 p.m., Trump authorized a 90-day pause on the tariffs, and this sent the market in a frenzy higher. Everything pumped. Bitcoin pumped. Altcoins pumped. The stock market pumped. Apple, Tesla, right? They're up 15-20% on the day. Crazy, crazy volatility to the upside. After just a few days ago, we had crazy volatility to the downside. Now, in terms of Bitcoin and all of this, like I just said, the higher time frame trend, it's still a downtrend. And it's not a very convincing candle close for me to say that, we've bottomed out here. On the lower and middle time frames, yes, right? The Monday high has been closed above on the daily time frame. But the previous swing high is up here, $84,700. Not yet reclaimed. The daily time frame downtrend line not yet reclaimed. So yeah, all in all, I wouldn't be too shocked to see this area around 83K end up holding as resistance. I did short it, but obviously risk is being managed, and as of right now, that's in profit. But regardless, I am still bearish. Now Ethereum, literally the same exact thing. Let's see here on ETH. So just like the level for Bitcoin that I was sharing yesterday in the Mastermind was 83K. So similar levels respective to Ethereum, 1690, 1730, to look for a rejection/short entry. Yesterday, 12:23 p.m. What happened today? Well, as we can see here, the daily time frame candle pumped. What's the high of the candle? The high is 1689. So sorry, everyone, it didn't hit 1690. I guess I was wrong here on this analysis. JK, I'm kidding. But yeah, anyways, price pumps directly to the level. And again, it's not too convincing. And as of right now, I do lean towards a Monday high deviation on these. Right? If we look on the lower time frames, there is very, very clear bearish divergence. Price is above Monday's high. And this is just like the picture perfect Monday high range trading strategy to essentially look for the move back inside of the range. So I hate to break it to everyone. I know, in everywhere, everyone's like crazy excited that the bottom's in and we're going up and all these things. And if that happens, that's perfectly fine. You guys also have to understand that you can be long and short, like as a trader at the same time. For example, Dogecoin here. right? Catching Doge at 13 cents. Some other entries as well. So all in all, I'm still biased to the downside. I do still think Bitcoin has to take its 72K key liquidity in order to actually have a sustained breakout higher. I don't think this low is going to hold. I think this is a major bull trap. I think this is a major manipulation move personally. And time will tell if that's going to be, accurate or not. But I mean, let's just go over a few things right now. So here we can see that $5.5 trillion was added to the U.S. stock market today. $5.5 trillion was added to the stock market. That's a lot of money. So what does this do to the average retail person's mind out there? They were scared to buy the lows, right? Because they thought it was going to go lower. Now they have FOMO. We're going to look at Bitcoin and not the stock market, but it's much of the same, right? Scared to buy the lows. Now you want to FOMO at resistance, or maybe you FOMO it somewhere in this up candle. How do you think it ends? How do you think this is going to end, right? Let's actually kind of think critically and logically for a second and use some common sense. And we have to put ourselves in the positions of the whales, the market makers, whoever, right? The people at the top of the totem pole that control this game. Do you really think that they're going to give everyone a free ride and just straight back up to like 90K or new all-time highs or something like that? I don't think that, okay? In my opinion, this is bait, right? This is bait for retail. And there's a very good chance that the whales just sold into this pump. Like, let's be straight up. This is an amazing amount of buying volume, amazing amount of emotions of greed and fear of missing out, FOMO. This huge conglomerate mixing pot of like all this bullish emotion and bullish news headlines. Do you really think the whales are just going to give everyone a free ride back up here without taking key liquidity first, at least? There's a very good chance they sold into this. That's what I think. And with that being said, some funny stuff happening. So all the countries have kind of they all want to negotiate new deals, all this stuff. I wouldn't really pay too much attention to this. Some more bullish propaganda. Paul Atkins is officially the new SEC chair, right? Pro Bitcoin, bullish news. Also, more bullish news. SEC approves options trading on spot Ethereum ETFs. I'm looking for the tweet where it says China will retaliate if something happens or something like that, but I don't know. I can't find it right now. But anyways, also, just last night, while today we have all this bullish news, just last night there was just bearish news out, like bearish bonanza news. As you can see this was actually this morning. Yeah, this was this morning at 5:57 a.m., so 6 a.m., right? Coin Bureau, largest crypto YouTube channel in the world, putting out articles saying Michael Saylor is going to be forced to sell his Bitcoin. It's just like complete confusion, in my opinion, in the minds of most people at the current moment in time. So, anyways, all in all, back to the charts, back to Bitcoin. I'm looking for a Monday high deviation. I'm already short from 83, and yeah, this is like the perfect pump for whales to sell into on all markets. I would not be surprised at all to see price come back into Monday's range. Ultimately, I do still expect price to grab its key liquidity at 72,000. And a lot of people will probably say I'm crazy for saying that, but I've explained my reasoning for weeks, time after time, that price needs the fuel to actually break out higher. And in no man's land, it's not sufficient liquidity or fuel to actually put in a breakout, in my opinion. So I don't know how long it's going to take. Like I said in my video today, I expect it to happen within the next 2 weeks. Could happen tomorrow, could happen in a week from now, but I do expect price to grab its key liquidity before a nice reversal higher. Hope that makes sense. And if you're feeling FOMO and saying that I'm wrong or whatever, I would say wait for the dust to settle, because the game is still being played right now, and the fat lady has not sang at all. It's still going on, and it's way too early to call bottom. It's way too early to do any of that right now, in my opinion. So anyways, let me see what's going on here with the live chat. Shout out to Rosie. Thank you for your support, saying hit the like button. Appreciate that. We also have Dre in the building. What's going on, Dre? We have Incognito111 saying, hey, Connor, what is going on? We got DeMarcus Jackson. What's going on, DeMarcus? Cryptomaniac, what is up? Semi, we got Elvis as well. We got Albert. We got DD. We got Be Cool. Semi says, you still think the 73K level, 72K level? Yes, I do still think it will get hit. Indeed. Thanks for the live. No worries, Eric. Can you open a Farmbase account? No. Farmbase, if you can't make a new account anymore. If you have an existing account, you can use it. But if you can't make a new account anymore, they shut that down essentially. But if you have an existing account, you can still use it for free. You don't have to pay anymore either. Abdul says smash up the like button. Yes, guys, smash up that like button. Pigskin Passion. Yo, Connor, thanks for your insight. No worries, my man. Appreciate your support. Shout out to Kitty Kush, Lee J, as well as Angel, as well as YouTuber Go Kill. What is going on, guys? All right, so back to the market. Let's go over the majors. So Bitcoin dominance now. Let's go over these real quick, run through them. Bitcoin dominance plans are still unchanged here. We did spike up to 64% 2 days ago. And ultimately, I still wouldn't be surprised on the spike down to 72K, or maybe it's mid-60s on Bitcoin. I went over that in the video today, right? Watch that video if you haven't. Still very relevant, but still expecting the spike up here to around 60. The level is 66%, not around. The level is basically exactly 66%. Now, much like BTC, not able to break its downtrend. The inverse of that is Tether dominance, USDT. Unable to break its uptrend and shift to a downtrend. As you can see, price dropped directly to support here, trendline support. However, we don't have a breakdown. We don't have a confirmed daily close below or a higher time frame close below. None of that. All right, so this is still in a very valid uptrend. And with the inverse correlation to the crypto market, when this is in an uptrend, prices go down, right? This could break, of course, just like Bitcoin can break its downtrend, this could break the uptrend. I just don't expect that to happen just yet before price does actually grab its key liquidity. So with that being said, this took its level that I've been waiting for up here at like 6.1%, right? You guys have been watching the lives. You know, we were waiting for that level to hit. It hit this past Monday, right? This is when, like I said, this is when I got filled on some entries such as, because the bottoms always line up with the tops on USDT dominance, right? So this bottom on Doge, for example, lined up perfectly with the USDT dominance spike up here on Monday to 6.24%, right? This chart will give you the best insight possible onto when the market is going to shift in the macro, as well as the lower time frames, but it's very powerful in the higher time frames. So anyways, when this peaks out, altcoins bottom out. Now at this point in time, there is another level higher, an old level at 6.4%. And the high, the absolute high of this current multi-year range, going back to say the start of 2024, the multi-year high from the range is at 6.77%. So with that being said, we could spike up pretty close to 7% here if we're going to get a drive lower on BTC. Although I would be looking at this point in time at the 6.4 to 6.5% level if we are going to do that spike down that I have been heavily anticipating here. USDC, I need to put some fresh levels up. Anyways, we can also use USDT plus USDC, right? We can combine the two. This is currently at 7.93% market share. All right, so these two stable coins, USDT and USDC, currently make up 7.93% of the entire crypto market. Higher, we do have a level at around 9%, as well as 9.58%. I would mark those out if I were you. I definitely would mark those out if I were you. Anyways, total did take that key level at 2.38 trillion. So if we go to the weekly time frame, we're going to run through the majors, continue running through these. Bear with me, guys. Anyways, on the weekly now, I did put in this weekly candle body over here. This is from the week of October 28th of 2024, just before the election rally. Right, I isolated this candle body on the weekly time frame. And this is a demand zone, all right? Refined level here at 2.25% for the total. This is the last level before, just like complete lights out. Like if this level is lost, it's complete lights out on the total market cap. And I'm not expecting that to happen. So again, this has been marking altcoin bottoms. It hasn't been marking Bitcoin. Let me rephrase that. Total 2, right, hit key level. Total hit key level. But Bitcoin never hit the key level. Altcoins hit their respective key levels. So on Monday, this past Monday, was a great time to long altcoins, right? We talked about this in depth. But if Bitcoin's going to go down further, it's going to bring the entire total market cap with it. I would be looking out for $2.25 trillion on the total market cap. Total 2, right? Our key level was 860 billion. That hit on Monday. Again, confluence for why I actually entered into longs. Now at this point in time, I am still kind of leaning towards that scenario where Bitcoin drops, but because the total 2 already took its key level and many altcoins sunk really hard when Bitcoin dropped on Monday, I wouldn't be too shocked to see altcoins not actually get smashed again when Bitcoin eventually goes and takes that liquidity at 72,000. So that scenario is very valid where altcoins are not going to drop as much. This was really kind of the last key level here before the 78.6 fib. If we go to the weekly time frame, the 78.6 fib is all the way down here at 690 billion. Okay, so the level at 640 was the last one really before this at 690. And this is a major drop. This is a major drop here. All right, we're talking about 27% on the total too from the current market price. A loss of $251 billion in the crypto market. It wouldn't be the first time that it's happened. And again, it would likely just be a really quick wick down and be right back up. But either this level at 640 or 860 will hold, or we're coming down to 690 billion for the total too, which again, I do favor this scenario where altcoins actually kind of hold this level here on the total too, around 860 billion, and don't get smashed as hard because they already took their respective levels as well on most charts. And then the total 3, closer to 600 billion at this point. The key level was actually front ran on the total 3, right? The low from Monday was at 660 billion and the key level was at 645 billion. So total 3, the key level hasn't been hit actually at 645 billion. And then the others market cap chart took the level down here at 180 billion. So yeah, really mixed where, but the most important ones such as say USDT dominance, total 2, total, they took those key levels. Just the only thing is Bitcoin hasn't. Bitcoin has not, and I hope nobody FOMO'd at $83,000 on Bitcoin or altcoins higher. And I hope you guys used your best judgment and didn't just succumb to emotions. When we're in a very manipulated market and things are moving like crazy, and Trump puts out one post on Truth Social and it sends the stock market up 20%. You have to understand we're in a very manipulated environment. We have been. But anyways, when price pumps directly to resistance levels you've outlined prior, right, that you said would be good spots for shorts, and then it happens with all this bullish news and bullish propaganda in a heavy manipulated market above the Monday high, there's just so many reasons to think that this is a fake pump. So I'm not falling for this bait. In my head is bait. And I know so many people probably disagree with me watching this right now, probably hoping that I'm going to be wrong. But I got news for you, Junior. I'm probably going to be right, but we'll see. We'll see. As of right now, things are playing out perfectly. We essentially need to see this 1 hour time frame demand zone break on BTC, right? This little block here. And we want to see price back inside of the Monday range to essentially confirm this deviation above the Monday high. So we'll see how it does play out. And if they just want to blow out shorts and pump it, that could very well happen, right? That's why a stop loss is always used if you're trading. But yeah, I'm still bearish. Sorry to break it to anyone who wanted me to change my stance. I'm still bearish. Let's see what else is going on here in the chat. Big shout out to OB1. What's going on, OB1? We got Renum19. What up, Renum? M2 as well. What's going on, M2? Manuel Vera says we really needed it to go to 70K. Patience, my friend, patience. We got Crypto Mike in the building. He said made it live. Hello all. Thanks, Connor. My man, Crypto Mike. Appreciate your support. Guys, smash up the like button. Over 100 people watching. And, I mean, a third of that amount in likes. It's pretty weak. Smash up that like button. And let's get that ratio up nice and high. Manuel Vera says, great show. You were dead on. What do you think the time frame is to retest 74,000? So the time frame, Manuel, if you haven't watched the regular video I posted this morning, I encourage you to go watch that one. I go over the time frame, but I'll tell you right now, I think it's going to happen relatively soon. If I had to put an exact date out there, I'm not going to give it an exact date, but I'd say within the next 11 days at this point. Before the 20th of April, it'll happen. It could very well happen, say tomorrow, but I don't know. Sometime within the next 11 days, I do expect price to actually come down here and hit the low 70s. A little crystal ball theory there. We asked the Magic Conch Shell before the live stream show today, and it said 11 days, so that's the answer we're going with. The market has bottom, son. I disagree. Let's see. Dan Griffith says Bitcoin holding at 75 while fear and greed is at 3 is wild. That strength tells me it isn't going to 72. I called 75 as the low last week. I totally get that reasoning, and I do, I respect the analysis. I just don't think that price will actually be able to have any type of sustained rally without grabbing its key liquidity. And of course, we need to take it step by step, right? So what needs to happen for me to be proven wrong here, to be invalidated? Price needs to start reclaiming previous swing high levels, all right? So there's a previous swing high here at 84,600. There's one up here, the previous week high at 88,380. And then really there's the big, really important 95K level. Now, if we're going to talk about new all-time highs, the most important level to be reclaimed is $95,000. I don't see that happening from here. Right? I don't see a break of this level from here. If they pumped it up to here, I think it would lead to a big rejection and then price likely just coming ultimately down and taking the 72K level. But Dan, no disrespect at all. I mean, it's fun to be able to, talk about this type of stuff with people all over the world on a live stream, go over our analysis, share it. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Let's see. Living Local says dollar dropping, it's what they want, so watch for some moves soon. Dollar's been really uncorrelated to crypto for a long time now. Let's see. Chris says, unless we hit 74K, you won't turn bullish. No, I'll go over it again. So really, in order for me to flip bullish, we would need to start reclaiming previous swing high levels or ultimately hit 72K. As of right now, we're still kind of in just a range where price it's at the higher end of this kind of lower time frame range, but it hasn't broken this previous swing high, which took place on April 4th. And again, that price is at 84K, 84,700. There's also the previous week swing high, which is right up here at 88,800. And then ultimately there's 95K. So if I'm going to flip bullish, I would be more bullish if price closed above 88. I would be full on bullish if price closed above 95. And I would be full on bullish as well if price hit 72,000. Here in this range, there is not much indication for me to say that we've bottomed out and things like that, especially given the fact that Bitcoin hasn't hit its key liquidity. So no, right, there is a bullish scenario to this, but price needs to reclaim previous swing high levels, and it hasn't done any of that. So yeah. Ethan says 420 sounds right. Yes. April 20th, the date 420 is how I got that number correct. Let's see. Dan says hard going against you, my man. LOL. It's all good, man. No worries. Send me, hey Connor, why 11 days? April 20th, that's why, 420. My man Ethan Crap Clean got the reference immediately. Shout out to him. Let's see. The Sarah 90 says, who are they? It's a great question. Who are they? Who is they when I say they? Well, I'm simply referring to the people that, the rich, the whales, the people that have the ability to add billions into the market on the drop of a tack, the manipulators of the world, the people that own the media, things like that. That's who they is, the market makers. Abdul, bottom is in. Many big guys already bought the bottom. Do you have a source for that, Abdul, when you say many big guys already bought the bottom? Or do you not have a source? Is this source just to trust you? Because that's a very vague statement that many big guys have already bought the bottom. Very vague. Who are the big guys here? Sailor? I mean, if it was Sailor, I doubt he bought the bottom. Sailor only buys at the worst times possible at resistance. Why do we think that is? Why does Sailor only buy at the worst times possible? Is it maybe to get retail to just be really bullish at like resistance? Is it all a trap? I don't know. Maybe. It certainly seems like that given his track record of literally buying every local top imaginable and never buying any local bottom. So I doubt it was Sailor. But who is they? I'm curious. Let's see. Alex Morin says 68K for me, Connor. Yeah, so Alex, like I said, again, watch my video that I posted this morning. It's not a live stream. It is a regular video. You know, when I say 72K, it doesn't mean it needs to be strict. All I want to see is price essentially touch that point. It could very well wick deeper into the high 60s. But as long as we basically just wick down and end up coming ultimately back above, that's still taking this liquidity. I just want to see the liquidity get taken. So that doesn't mean we're just going to come here and immediately tap 70 and just reverse out of the gates, right? We could certainly go deeper than that into the high to the mid 60s. But ultimately, I would want to see that result in a wick, right? I would want to see it be a long wick like one of these with price closing back above, and that would indicate to me that price has taken that liquidity. So 68K, 70K, 72K, it's kind of much more of the same, lower basically, if that makes sense. Luke's Spiritual Journey says, this rally was perfect for crushing short-term bulls. Too perfect. Gotta love blaming the news. What's your view on holding versus trading after this cycle personally? So holding, if buying at critical points, for example, October 2023, right? If you would have bought then altcoins, you would have been fine holding. But anytime after, smoked. And obviously you would have had to also taken profit in March of 2024. But anyways, to answer the question, what's the view on trading versus holding? I think if you have the retail mindset of hodling and waiting for 4-year cycles to play out, you will never reach your goals, and you'll probably end up at best like break even, probably in a loss though, because we're not in 2017 or 2021 anymore. Things are very different, and yeah, you have to have knowledge of trading in this market 100%. Let's see. Luke's Spiritual Journey says, very curious, Cubic CAS ETC versus top-notch TA. As in, do you want me to look at those? So CASPA is still in this downtrend channel here on the daily time frame. And again, would have been a good short today, Monday high short deviation. But nonetheless, CASPA, higher time frame, still in a very clear downtrend. And let's go to our MEXC chart. So yeah, on MEXC, very similar to Bitcoin, where it came super close. All right, it did hit this high wick from the pre-breakout in November 2023. This happened September 2023. It hit this wick, reversed from there. Ultimately, right now, again, this is still very much a range. No previous swing highs have been reclaimed. There's no reason to be bullish on this right now. Again, unless a previous swing high is reclaimed or price comes down and grabs liquidity at 5 cents and below, really in the high fours is where I'm looking. My zone is from 4.9 cents to like 4.3 cents here on CASPA that I'm looking for to line up with Bitcoin bottoming out down to 72 or high 60s, right? We talked about this already. When I say 72, it could mean deeper, right? I just want to see that liquidity taken. Big shout out to Adrian Kent with the 2 thumbs up. John Boy, our guy John Boy says, I'm bullish if we close above 88,000 on the weekly, till then trading the zone. That seems very valid to me, and it seems like a well thought out approach. So our guy John Boy says he's bullish if price closes above 88,000 on the weekly. Okay, where's 88,000? That is up here. It looks like we just got a super chat. Let's go look at that real quick. Let's see. We got a super chat from Luke's Spiritual Journey. Do you expect Rio Cubic to come anywhere near previous all-time high? Also, for the fun, where do you see Bitcoin going to realistically if you had to guess? Thank you. So, in terms of going back to new all-time high, tough to say. Ultimately, if I had to give a yes or no answer at this point in time, I will say no. Cubic maybe within some kind of AI super cycle if they introduce singularity and stuff like that. But that's a far-fetched reality from the current point in time we're at right now, especially given it's a crypto asset. It's an altcoin, and altcoins basically they're not immune to the overall market. So yeah, at this point in time, I'm gonna have to say no to that. And then where do you see Bitcoin going to realistically, if I had to guess? So again, like I've been saying, I'm not really too confident in seeing like a crazy breakout into like 200K or something like that after price grabs 72,000. I've been saying like dead cat bounce, and that would simply mean a move back up, likely to the 100K. Maybe it will marginally make a new all-time high like November 2021. Get everyone uber bullish again and then just nuke it back down and more of the same. If I had to guess. If I did have to guess. But yeah. I'd say we're coming back up from like 100K to 108. Maybe we do make that new all-time high. And then just like November 2021, let's go look at that real quick. Way back in time. Over here. All right, make a new all-time high, but it's actually just a huge whale trap to get retail to think that everything's going to be glamorous and it's going to keep going up forever. It never does. It never works the way retail will is when they're crazy bullish at the top and things like that. It usually doesn't work out in that sense. So yeah, I would expect something like that if I had to guess. But as of right now, let's take it level by level, step by step. And there's a lot of work to do before price is back at 100K per Bitcoin. There's a lot of work to do before this right now. Anyways, what was I talking about before the super chat came in? I forget. Oh yeah, if we close Johnny Boy, our guy Johnny Boy. That's right. So yeah, he's saying if price closes above 88K on the weekly, and I mean, if we're going to take a specific price point, it would be the previous swing high, which is at 88,800. And yeah, I mean, this is basically just what I just said, right? If price closed above this previous swing high, I would definitely be more bullish, but we don't have that now. So like Johnny Boy says, we're in a range. Okay, so looks like our demand zone is holding up here on the short term or the lower time frames at 82,200 down to 81,750. As you can see, we isolated this block and price did react from it right now. We'll see if this leads to a pump or that Monday high deviation, which we're essentially looking for right now for price to come back inside of Monday's range. I do lean towards that, but we'll see. Living Local says, Trump is sitting next to me and he says, go Connor. Well, tell Trump I said thank you. Appreciate that. Julian Hosp bought the bottom. That's my source. I don't know who that is. I don't know who Julian Hosp is. Bought a whale wallets buying around 75K. Let's take on hash ribbons. Don't use hash ribbons indicator. Never have used it. Don't plan on switching up my style. I just like price action, basic supply and demand. It's how I learned 8 years ago. So, and it's also just makes the most sense. The market runs off of supply and demand. So if you understand that concept, it will take you far. You won't need a hash ribbon. But I understand they can be useful if you know how to use it properly. It's like any tool. If you know how to use the tool, it's useful. Let's see. Sarah says, you're wrong, Connor. Sailor average buy is 65K, so still below current price, which goes against your claim that he only buys local tops and never bottoms. He was DCAing when everybody else chickens. Okay, but what about his buys over the past 12 months? Do a back test on that. I mean, he's been in the market for many years, and he was buying in the bear market, which is why he does have a low average. But go check the numbers on his last buys over the past 12 months, and let's see how they look. And then come back to me and tell me I was wrong. Let's see. Epsilon says, we also have a weekly and monthly hidden bullish divergence, just like what we went from 30K to 69K. Okay, that's one thing to consider, but it does leave out the fact the price hasn't grabbed this very important key liquidity. So I put that above most. Dan says his average goes over several years. Over those years, he does often buy the top. Yes, exactly what I just said. I didn't see that comment, but it's exactly what I just said, Dan. Ricky Beltrance is a falling wedge pattern on the weekly. I see what you mean. I do see what you mean here, Ricky, but I think ultimately this will end up in a breakout, but this bottom support line holding for now, can definitely see it get wicked through before a breakout first. I've went over what I'm looking for, so I don't want to sound like a broken record here repeating myself, but yeah, that's what I'm expecting here. Price continuing to react well from this lower time frame demand zone. Over here on BTC, again, this is at 82,180 down to 81,750, and price bouncing from the level now. Let's see. Do you teach trading in the Mastermind? Yes. I mean, I post consistent analysis on what I'm looking for. I post videos and things like that. So I would say yes to that question. Let's see. Kitty Kush. There was always news of Sailor buying after Bitcoin pumps, but never when it dumps. Pretty much always buying local tops. Yes. Let's see. Rosie says, Connor, what do you think about buying wrapped Tau instead of the coin itself? It's easier to do from my wallet. Rosie, I would say it's much better off to buy the actual coin and not the wrapped version of it. In life, the real original thing is usually the best, right? Like now there's food from the earth, and now they genetically modify food, and it's fake crap. So you're always better off with the real thing. Just like Tau versus wrapped Tau, you're always going to be better off with Tau itself. I don't know if there's third-party risk with wrapped Tau, but I would have to assume there is, just like there's third-party risk with wrapped Bitcoin, right? There's a company that wraps it. So yeah, you're always better off with the real thing. But anyway, speaking of Tau, let's have a quick gander at it. So unfortunately, my bids didn't get filled, which was somewhat disappointing, but that's the game, folks. Yeah, I put a lot of bids out, ultimately between 160 and 130, 120 bucks, really, right down to the lows over here. This orange zone, it goes from 140 to 120, but I was looking to bid these lines up here, the lows at 160. Didn't get hit. All right, as you can see, the bottom happened at 167. That's okay. Fortunately, they did get hit on Doge. So now what we have for Tau is this outline supply zone has been hit. 4-hour candle closed below. All right, so it did not break this level just yet. And ultimately, we are above Monday's high price. And on the lower time frames, it's actually not too valid. So yeah, I was going to say that's not very valid to look at the div here. But yeah, ultimately price, just like Bitcoin pumped directly to supply that I mentioned yesterday in my post in the Discord. Tau also hit its respective supply zone up here and currently above the monthly open. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen here in the short term. But you know, if Bitcoin's going to play the Monday range deviation, I would expect Tau to as well and ultimately come back in here. And I do still have my bids out, and they're all right now from 140 to 120. Down here is the juice spot. That's what we want to see, 140 to 120. And I do expect that to probably be some type of really, really good, call it a generational entry, if you will. But I think there's money to be made if you're a buyer down here, if given, even, you know, at 160 or so. But obviously, if we're going to try and catch bottoms. You know, we want to isolate our area, and that isolated area is from 140 to 120. Bottom catchers. Looks like we got a super chat. We got a few super chats rolling in. Thank you guys for all of the super chats. We got Juan with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you for your support, Juan. I really appreciate that. He says, hey, Connor, your content gets better and better and always spot on. I appreciate that. He says, took some profits today into TREB, 25 cents. Would you say it's current bottom? Good question there, Juan. So is TREB bottomed out here? So TREB's been holding really, really strong over here. You know, from what's the low? Okay, the low is 25 cents, essentially 24.8 cents. And it's just been in this range between like 40 cents and 25 cents. So is this the bottom? So I'd say with Ethereum likely. We haven't actually talked about ETH yet this stream, but my stance is 100% unchanged on ETH. I'm still looking for ETH to come down to 1,300 to 1,200. So yeah, I would say 1,300 to 1,200 for Ethereum. So yeah, if this happens and ETH comes home, you know, TREB is on base, and a large amount of ETH is being used, obviously, to provide liquidity and things like that. It will have a direct effect on TREB, so maybe it does drop a bit lower before ultimately bottoming out, given that I'm just expecting another kind of flush across the board, especially for Bitcoin, ETH, the major. So I think it's too soon to call bottom on anything just yet, although it could be, right? Because there's also this scenario where altcoins already hit their key levels and they're not going to crash further when Bitcoin does. So if that were to happen, then these 24, 25 cent levels could end up holding. But I think if you see like 20 cents, if it drops below 20 cents, that is for sure a crazy discount and very likely a good buy to end up, you know, good in say, a week or a month or a few months when we get this bounce that I'm expecting, a large bullish reversal. And we got another super chat as well. We got a super chat from Angel. He says, can you analyze Edwin, please? Can I analyze Edwin? I'm going to guess that's a meme coin because I've never heard of a coin named Edwin before. Yes, it is a meme coin. It's on Solana. Okay, so Edwin the Owl. Never seen this one before, but let's break it down starting on the daily time frame. So this is one of those meme coin charts where some might describe it as a slow cook. Because oftentimes they'll see a meme coin launch and it will just do this right out of the gate. And it won't give anybody an opportunity to like buy any type of dip or anything. It just keeps on ripping. And those ultimately end up doing the Burj Khalifa and crashing down into nothing. This isn't happening here on Edwin. All right, so some may describe this more of a slow cook. And it's just range bound here. Lows, highs, you're kind of smack dab in the middle of it. Get all of this off, and we only want our 50% measurement here. Okay, so here's our 50% measurement of the range at 6.62 million. If I was to be a buyer of Edwin, I would only want to be a buyer at a discounted price. Over here above the 50% range level, this is all premium, okay? We don't want to buy premium. Ultimately, We have a low over here at 4.44 million. And then we have the lows down here at the range low to like 2.1 million. If I was to be a buyer of Edwin, I would be looking at the discount of the range. And the discount of the range is down here. So for number's sake, we're calling it 3.86 down to 2.19. If I wanted to be a buyer of something like Edwin, which I will clarify, I don't want to be a buyer of this meme Solana meme coin pump fund launch. I have zero interest in any pump fund bullshit coin. But if I was, I would be looking at the discount of the range, which is down here. But I hope that helps, man. And if you do end up buying, I hope it is the next Shiba Inu or Pepe and it goes to $1 billion market cap and you retire off of it. I hope that happens. I just don't think it will. So we'll see how it goes though. Thank you for the super chat though, sir. Guys, smash up the like button. All right, where were we? Shout out to Zurich saying, what's good, my boy? Good to see you. Even though I don't think I've ever seen your name before in the chat. Good to see you regardless. And let's see, Dan says here, an interesting comment from Dan. He says, bothers me to admit that Bitcoin not sweeping 72 zone can lead to failed rally. I mean, I know Dan, that I've said that many times, and I certainly believe that to be true. I mean, if we do rally from here, and we break this downtrend line, and we see USDT dominance break as well, that would certainly be contention for flipping risk on again. But I wouldn't unless one of two things happened, right? Unless we reclaim previous swing highs or unless we hit 72. So, yeah, I have to agree with you, Dan. Let's see what else is going on here. Someone says Edwin is not a meme coin. If I was looking at the right Edwin, I would certainly classify this one as a meme coin. If this is the right Edwin, this is the DeFi AI layer, empowering AI agents. This is a meme coin. If you believe this, you read this, and you think it's anything other than a meme coin, okay, it has some functionality where you can stake and trade. To me, pump fund contract, OWL. If you believe the slap on of liquidity that it's some kind of DeFi AI thing, like it's zero yeah, it's a meme coin, no argument. But hey, everyone is it's 2025, right? Everyone is free to think how they want, and everyone gets a participation trophy too, so it's all good. So many comments flooding in here. Eric says, we still targeting 70? Yes, sir. Hugo says, they did KeyCat wrong, bringing it to Coinbase at the wrong time. Well, if we worked at Coinbase, we would probably laugh at that and disagree, because if we worked at Coinbase, we would have known. And it did do what is this? Yeah, almost a 6x. All right, we're talking delta 465%, which is basically like a 5.6x in price. From the bottom on March 11th to the top over here on March 28th. And ultimately, the listing happened the announcement happened in late March, and then price nukes directly back down into this demand level from 28 million. So yeah, I mean, they did retail dirty. Yeah, they did. Don't they always, though? They do, yes. I'm answering my own question. They always do them dirty. They always do us dirty, retail. But yeah. They did do KeyCat, dogging me, whatever. Where's Miggles at? 25 mil. Strong reaction today. We'll see. Yeah, it's if we're talking base coins, I'd have to say Miggles and KeyCat. In terms of established ones, like I think those are the only two you would actually need to focus on and accumulate. If you want base exposure, Miggles and KeyCat, the cats, the two cats. I think they will probably do quite well in a risk-on market, with Ethereum doing well too. Let's see. Let me scroll up. I totally missed my spot here. Let's see. Marcus says, do you still think TET and AI Tech are going to do good? Well, given their respective charts, it's really hard for me to say yes to that question. Like, these charts are just kind of destroyed. Like, there's zero bullish market structure. The only bullish thing is the fact that price has now come into higher time frame demand here on AI Tech. Look, it's an AI coin, and I mean, the fundamentals have always been solid on this, in the sense that, you know, there is some actual utility, and it's not just some, at least I don't think it's some random LARP. But yeah, I mean, this had a stellar run. It did a altcoin season pump, did a 50x from low to high. So at this point in time, it's back home. So in a world where AI coins do well again, I could see this doing well. But again, same thing with people asking me about Cubic too, right? They're all in the same basket. Every AI coin, TAI too, right? People asking me, you buying this now? You buy? Like, no. This is why. There's no market structure here that's bullish. There's no indication. So at this point in time, the answer is no. And yeah, I teched him. Dude, I got destroyed on this. So I hope it comes back, but it does appear that the Tectum Foundation or whatever just ran away and sold every coin imaginable. What I think happened, actually, same thing with AI Tech, same thing with every single coin. You guys have to understand, and I should have understood this in 2023 and 2024 when I was buying these shit coins and I was bullish on them, and I was very wrong, ultimately losing a fortune. But whatever. We don't cry over spilled milk. But what you need to understand is, when a coin does a pre-sale, and let's say they have a vesting over 1-2 years or something like that, people bought the token at pre-sale valuations, pennies on the dollar, and they just get it consistently released to them for years. So either the team scammed, or it's just like really unfavorable tokenomics where pre-sale investors just dumped everything. Every time they got a vesting release, they just sold. So yeah, these altcoins, they look cooked, just like every other altcoin. Right? We can pick 10 names out of a hat, and most will look similar. Fartcoin is obviously an exception. Fartcoin leading the market, but in general, like new all-time highs and things like that off the board for now, and ultimately, I think we'll see some type of bounce when Bitcoin reverses, but yeah, they're not looking great right now. Let's see. Luke's Spiritual Journey says, it's hard for me to imagine altcoins doing even 5x when Bitcoin only has 30 to 40K realistically from the next low. Seems like Bitcoin pumps and alts pump less, but BTC dumps and alts dump more. I understand that statement, Luke. But when crypto does flip risk on, I think, yes, most altcoins won't do more than a 5x. When we do have risk on market conditions, though, we will see probably like new coins that just get released do some crazy numbers. But a lot of the more established stuff, yeah, I can see them not really, giving gains that retail wants, where they want to see like 10x's and 20x's and things like that. Let's see, Connor, if you don't know Dr. Julian Hosp, you should look into it. He called the bottom, he called the top in 2021, again in 2025. He called and bought again. He's a billionaire. Look into him yourself. Nobody's able to beat him performance-wise. Okay, good to know. I'll check out Dr. Julian Hosp. Thank you for putting me on. Shout out to C Don't Care. Good to have you here, man. So a lot of debate right now or talk between, altcoins. Dan saying alts heavily outperformed Bitcoin during that period, like risk on altcoin season conditions. So at this point in time, with USDT dominance coming so high, in order for altcoins to perform, right, we need one of these types of drops like what happened post-election. We need one of these. Now, ultimately, I do have levels marked out for macro, like potential bottoms, potential tops, right? Because this is an inverse chart. It's really, will we hit 3.3% down here? Right? Because this was, if we were to break 3.8% over here and say the end of the year, the start of 2025, right? This was the target over here, but that never did hit, right? We reversed from this level at 3.8. Now, with price coming so high now, above 6%, with the potential of, closing in at 6.5%, and you can see I have a higher time. This would be a bear market reversal level from 7.3% all the way up here. Right? If we were to see a 55% drop in USDT dominance, that would be a period of altcoins doing numbers like we saw at the start of 2024 with AI coins, and then after the election with AI agent coins and pump fund meme coins this period, where we see 100xers happen in a day. That would happen if we came up here to say, 7%, 6.5%, right? We're talking a 50% drop on USDT dominance to this macro target. But things would be even more destroyed than they are now. Okay, so it's all about context. Like, neither of you guys are wrong, Dan or Luke. Neither of you are wrong. It depends on the context and how things play out. But yeah, if we were to drop, say, to this level at 4.36%, it wouldn't be too nuts, but it would be full on nuts coming down here to 3.3%. But yeah, it's all about context and seeing how it develops. Ultimately, right now, we're looking for a reason for price to come down here, to be risk on again, right? And this is stablecoin dominance. We're looking for reasons for this to happen. Ultimately, we need to break the downtrend because it's taken its levels, right? Again, Bitcoin is the only one that hasn't. So from here, I can see a move to 4.36%. But yeah, this lower target of 3.3% at this point in time, it doesn't look too likely, right? It's too. We need to see more developments in the chart happen in order to say we're going to confidently go down to 3.3% right now. And this is altcoin season target. This is full risk on 55% drop. Like, that's what we want. Will we get that? I'm not too sure about that right now. We got a super chat from the Albert. The Albert said, hey brother, speaking of low caps, do you think Dog Made the Ticker can follow a similar path as Ski? So Dog Made the Ticker, base low cap meme coin. Can it follow a similar path to Ski? I would say it's possible, but not likely. Ski followed that path because of Brian Jung. Brian Jung, if you guys don't know him, he's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, crypto channel, and he's got a really large private group, right? And the reason Ski really performed so well was because they had one main guy with a lot of influence really push it really hard. And a lot of people underneath him in his group and stuff being the soldiers to support that movement. Same deal with Brett, right? You have Crash as that main figure similar to Brian Jung. And then the army underneath him, pushing it and giving it the fuel to stay relevant on everyone's socials. Dog Made the Ticker doesn't have that, so I wouldn't expect it to go to hundreds of millions. But it might potentially pump, X's, but I wouldn't expect it to do 100 million market cap like Ski did. For the reasonings I mentioned. It doesn't have Brian Jung or someone else with 1 million YouTube subscribers and like 10,000 people in his private group all buying it. Donnie Freeman says he's not really expecting altcoin season until the end of the year or the start of 2026. Yeah, I mean, I can't really, crystal ball stuff. But again, if we're going to hit 72, or if let's say we rally from here. But again, it will probably be a failed rally if we rally from here. But let's say we hit 72. All right, we come back up. We sweep the all-time high. It's a bull trap. From there, we're likely coming down and going back in sub 50. Yes, sub 50. You heard that correctly. And that would take some time. 4-year cycle is completely obsolete. It's completely obsolete at this point in time. So, we could end up, say, bottoming end of the year. But let's take it step by step. Anyway, we have a super chat from Crypto Junkie Princess. Do you think Beppe can reach 1 billion? So Beppe, big bounce on Beppe today. Can it reach 1 billion again? There's no huge cabal pushing Beppe. There's no Crash or Brian Jung or Kelsey or Ventures behind this coin. Like the team of Beppe, I've talked to them, right? I've made videos for them. They've reached out to me, right? They're just like normal people, basically, with no huge influence. And this market, like influence is currency in this market. And that's the reason why certain coins hit billion market caps. So I don't think Beppe will hit 1 billion, no. Can it do well and pump hard? Yes. But 1 billion, not so sure about that. That would be 1,000x from the current price at 1.3 million. I don't really see it 1,000xing. Hopefully that doesn't disappoint you, Crypto Junkie Princess, when I say it won't 1,000x to 1 billion market cap. Anyways, any thoughts on Kokaro and Jerry the Turtle on ETH? No thoughts. Kokaro. Okay, so here's Kokaro, and then there's Jerry the Turtle. Kokaro. Okay, so here's the scenario. We looked at that coin, the Owl one, I forget the name, Edwin or something. And we went over the the path that some meme coins take where they launch and just pump really hard, but then Burj Khalifa. Here is a picture perfect example of that type of price action. So we had this coin go from 800K up to 80 million. It did a 100X in the first 4 hours of time, or the first 8 hours of time. And ultimately now it's down 93.4%. So given the current market conditions, I don't know why this coin pumped to 80 million when it launched. Like that's a really mega pump. A lot of people were buying that for it to pump really hard like that. Okay, so is this Kokaro here? Nature is Amazing is posting videos of Kokaro here. Maybe this is like some really popular internet dog. Own the Doge family. So it looks like there's some narrative for this meme, but yeah, I mean, chart's cooked. And especially we're in risk off conditions. If you see it pump up here to this level, I would, if you're holding, I would look to get out. But thoughts on this one are gamble. There's no other word to describe this chart, this coin, other than gamble. So very high risk, and it Burj Khalifa after the launch, so it's not really it's going to take a lot of buying for this thing to pump hard. Let's check out the traders too. Top traders. All right, so let's see. Number one trader, he bought 48 grand, he sold, and he profited 190K. This wallet here never bought, sold 150K, red flag. This wallet bought 8,500, sold 150K, made 143 grand. Wallet number 4 never bought but made 115K. Wallet number 5 never bought but made 103K. A lot of top trading wallets never bought, and they all pulled out 100 grand or close to it. 60 grand, 80 grand. That's a lot of fucking money. And they never bought, so I would stay far away from this shitcoin. I would stay far away from that. A lot of red flags. Jerry the Turtle. All right, so the latter part of Crypto Junkie Princess is Super Chat. Jerry the Turtle by Matt Fury. Now, this is a type of chart where it's like, it's more respectable. This is a more respectable chart, right? We can work with something like this. It doesn't look like a Burj Khalifa. So price been front running demand at basically 1 million market cap. In reality, I would isolate this because this is the actual demand zone. This is simply a reaction of this. Okay, so this is where we want to focus. Pretty classic setup here where we have support, tight range, and demand just beneath it. So if I wanted to buy, I would buy down here just below 1 million market cap. And why not? Let's go over this. So yeah, a lot of sells, but it's not like 100K, 80K. It's much more modest, like 10 grand, 17 grand, but still no buying, just selling a lot. This person bought $112 and sold 14K. So definitely some shenanigans went on here, unless this person did just get, buy it that low and just a normal person. But I'm not so sure we should give him the benefit of the doubt there. But the chart's much more respectable than the other one we looked at. Okay, that was the wrong Kuroko. So one thing, Crypto Junkie Princess, there's like 10 of these Kokoro coins now. Okay, there's the one on Base, there's the one on ETH. There's ones on Solana. And they have the same market cap and they've launched on the same. They have to be related. I would think that it's the same one, or there's something malicious going on here where there's like two, they're trying to vampire attack each other. Right? Whereas like the first one launched, then someone saw that and stole their idea and then launched it, like a vampire attack type of thing. So that's red flag again. It's a breaker. 3 million market cap. You got a level of interest. Notice supply zone. Real quick, a little breakdown real quick. Supply zone, drop base, or rally base drop. Price pumps, completely disregards the supply zone. Completely disregards it. So, failed supply zone switches to demand. Some might call it a breaker, but that's all it is. And that's at 3 million market cap for Kokoro the dog. Abdul says, Kokoro is the new dog from Kabuso family and it's all the same scam. Yeah, I have a lot. My bullshit detector is going off the charts looking at Kokoro personally. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, but again, everyone is free to make their own decisions in this market. Koba says, have no idea why people are still so obsessed with meme coins when rug pulling is so fashionable these days. Every lowbrow influencer clown is having a ride. I agree. It's bullshit. It's a race to the bottom. Like, Trump launched 2 memes. It was actually Kelsier Ventures, and they just rugged everyone hundreds of millions of dollars. And that money is not going back into crypto. It's being sold for fiat, for US dollars. It exits the crypto. It's a net loss for the entire industry. It's a black stain on the entire industry. It's a race to the bottom. So, Koba, I agree with you, man. It's a race to the bottom. All right, let's see. We got Raja asking for Oasis Rose. Haven't looked at Rose, but I'm going to assume the market structure looks toast. And it is. This is really toast. So this is below bear market lows. So this is a coin to not. It's not a coin of interest. We should be interested in altcoins that haven't breached their higher time frame low prices. This is a very distinct sign of weakness here on Rose. These are all-time lows. They must be, right? Let me check real quick. Some all-time low prices for Oasis Rose. Let's see. All-time low 3 days ago, April 7th. Yeah, it's not a good look. Heavily VC-backed coin. Right, big investors in Rose. And it looks like they've all abandoned ship. So, again, we want to focus on coins that haven't broken their higher time frame lows. Those are likely going to be the ones that perform. Something like this, it's just yeah, there's nothing to go off of here. It's a very weak chart, and I would not have any interest in buying this. It's just a very red flag, because a lot of like shit coins haven't breached their bear market. This is like, it's pretty unprecedented, and it's a sign to not even have any interest in the coin, in my opinion. Anyways, real quick, what's Bitcoin doing? 82,300. Will the Monday range be in play, or is price going to shock the bears and blow them out here? You guys know I love ragging on the bears. But I'm a bear right now, so I ain't ragging on the bears. Ultimately, I would love to see the bears get blown out after price grabs liquidity. But until that happens, I ain't so sure about any kind of sustained pump or rally. Again, for anyone tuning in later today, we are looking for Bitcoin to reject and likely perform a Monday high deviation. As you can see, price is above the Monday high. It's not random that I just am looking for a price to drop from here. Again, yesterday, when did I post this? Yeah, yesterday, I said 83K supply zone. Don't be surprised if price pumps into that level. Here's the sketch beforehand. And here we are directly in that supply zone after a big day in the market. Again, Trump telling everyone it's time to buy this morning. And then a few hours later, he pauses the tariffs and everything pumps. We saw 5.5 trillion get added, not 3.5, 5.5 trillion got added to the US stock market following that 90-day pause. It just seems like the perfect bull trap to me. 5.5, let's get the 5.5 trillion tweet. Here we go. 5.5 trillion added to the market. Do you think whales are buying into this huge surge, or do you think they are selling into it? Common sense will take you very far, but unfortunately, common sense ain't so common nowadays. Personally, I think the whales are likely using this pump to get the heck out. That's my stance. I'll be live again tomorrow to update, so don't go anywhere. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button yet. And we'll be live again tomorrow to discuss the developments of this price action. But as of right now, I'm looking for the Monday high deviation, with price coming directly to my outlined supply zone on a very manipulated pump. I'm totally fine with being wrong. Risk is managed. But it just seems like way too obvious of a bull trap for me to not try and see if I'm going to be right with a short. So we'll see how we go. And I'll be live again tomorrow, guys. Looks like I got one more super chat, though, that I missed from Crypto Junkie Princess. Do you think Doge Gov on ETH will go up again? So this coin got destroyed. It was trading at, 500 million after the election. Now it's down here at 11 million. So, again, Bonk Guy was the main figure behind this one. What did it do? It did a 68x in a period of short amount of time. Anyways, can it make a comeback? I mean, I'm going to have to give a no to that. I'm going to have to say no. It pumped off of the election hype, and all of that is gone. So I don't think it's going to do a repeat of this move. Right? We don't have that hype effect of Trump and Elon getting in the White House again. What's the narrative to make this go nuts again? I just don't see one, so I'm going to have to say no. Most of these shitcoins, especially these memes, they had their day in the sun, and I'm not sure they're going to have another. Anyways, lads. Random, we looked at that chart earlier. It doesn't look good, as expected. Hopefully, I was able to, hopefully you guys made your own decision and are happy with it. Let me say that. But, yeah, I've given my stance on that coin. Anyways, guys, smash up the like button if you haven't smashed up that like button just yet. I'm Connor from Crypto Empire. Thanks for being here. Appreciate chatting with you guys for the past hour and 20 minutes. Thank you for all of your comments. Thank you for all of your super chats. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.